All right, members and friends. So now we're on sgtreport.com. And again, we're just featuring other people's channels because it's important. You know, this is nice to see. Again, you know, we can go through the list. He has many uploads, and it doesn't take them off the page if we want. Here, we'll just turn this on and we'll listen for a minute.
We are who we are, and
into the background, right?
Displayed by what we do. And he's got a 30-year record of consistency. If you want to know who he is, just look at his record.
Okay. So I'm not promoting Ron Paul. I'm just, you know, providing the information here. You know, showing the difference between channels. That's important. I think this is very nicely well made. The colors are very good. You know, we're going to scroll down and we'll just listen. Subscribers, look how many he has. 24,054 subscribers. That's a lot of subscribers. And he's been around since February 3rd, 2007. You know, just on 4 hours ago. Right? So that's nice to know. You know, especially if you're, you know, kind of following somebody. I don't really do the Twitter thing. You know, I allow my uploads to be tweeted out, but other than that, like, I'm not, you know, I prefer the more personal contact. And at one point, you know, prior to what they're going to do, YouTube did provide that for the viewer, because this is cozy. You know, I can enjoy this. Other channels, you know, I don't promote other channels simply because of my nonprofit, and I have to think about the long-term ramifications. That's not to say that I won't promote other channels, but you know, every now and then I do have to play a little hardball, so I have to be careful, because you know, I'm only, you know, a lot of times it's just you know, go on your instincts, right? So for now, which, you know, in this case, right, it's okay, right? And then we've got, you know, channel comments, right? So I can add in my little hello. How about we do that? We'll just go hello, and we'll post that and see if it goes through. Sometimes people, you know, sometimes they, you know, they wait, right? And they like to pre-screen. I don't really get with those channels. I'm more of a free-flowing, uncensored type of person, right? So, you know, I don't like to be censored out, right? Well, this is a nice song, right? Might get me into trouble, though. You know, I don't know. Seems like everything gets you into trouble these days. You know, I don't know what kind of world we live in when you're always getting into trouble for something, you know. And obviously this person is, you know, quite active, right? You have your recent activities, you know, the fractional reserve, and, you know, very intelligent person, right? Tries to give out information, and then it's up to you as the viewer to, you know, decide, you know, what you want to take from that. And then, you know, he has his subscriptions there, and if we wanted to, we could, you know, click all and see. All right, so this is a very nice page. I like the background. It's very nice. I like the color. I like the color tone on it. Right. And of course, you know, you used to have numbers there to be able to click, but now it's just next, because they're wiping that out. You know. So.
I think people are just ready for a change.
Real change?
Real change, yeah.
Like
yeah.
the troops home change?
Yeah, I think that Ron Paul is the only choice that a sane person could make this election season.
And why do you support Ron Paul?
We support the Constitution, personal liberty, freedom. We're in the military here, well, in the military.
And how do you feel about these wars?
We fight for our country, you know, we're patriots, but we believe that we should protect our country, and obviously we're doing no one any service. I have friends who've died over in Iraq because of this, you know.
And he's just a young man. I have a son his age.
If you research and educate yourself on politics, politics, economics, and just what's going on globally, you're going to realize that Ron Paul really is the only candidate. I think that if we don't vote him into the presidency, I think that we are facing a very detrimental situation where a lot of my generation is going to have a hard time finding jobs. I think we're going to see less prosperity, less personal liberties, and so that's why I think why Ron Paul is the only option.
We the people hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, that they are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights, that among them are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness.
Now, how can you get mad at somebody that, fights for young people? These are our young people. They deserve better than what we're giving them. We need to fight for the young people. The more of us that can fight for the young people, the better the planet will be. They deserve a chance. They really, really do. Okay, the people in power are.
There's so much to talk about. I want to talk to you about
Where's the ad?
inflation in this country now. The powers that be would like to have
Let's
everyone
just bring
believe
this
that
down.
the inflation
Wow.
rate in this nation is still hovering in that 2 to 4%.
There's another ad.
But the reality is,
But that's okay.
that, the dollar is losing
we
value
can
maybe
go
faster
around
than
that.
anybody expected.
And if we really want to look at the ad, we can.
Commodities, including gold and silver and wheat and rice and corn and everything else, is off the charts. I mean, at what point do we call a spade and say that we're entering hyperinflation, Bob?
Well, I saw an article, which I carried on Wednesday. I used the link from CNBC, of all places, questioning
no
the
pictures there,
statistics
but that's
regarding
okay.
inflation. What is inflation?
So how far
It's
back does
somewhere
this
between
person
8
go?
and 9% right now.
Let's see.
Now the government says the core is 1.6 and regular inflation is 1.9%. They've been lying so long they couldn't tell the truth if they had to.
Yeah.
And,
Can you hear that?
And so where are we going to be at the end of the year? Well, from QE1 and Stimulus 1, we're guaranteed 14%. QE2 and Stimulus 2, next year, we're guaranteed something up in the 20s. And they are going to go to QE3. They'll backdoor it. They won't call it that, but they're going to do it.
They don't have any
And
choice.
you have to look at the psycho-political, analytical angle on this, because these people are devious. I watched the head of PIMCO this morning talking about not probably having QE3. And one of the things that the man does not understand is that everything is not what it seems to be. You can't use logic. You have to see what these people were up to in the past. And it goes back 1,000 years. But just in the recent past, over the last 300 or 400 years,
Pretty nice how that works,
what
eh?
were they doing? They were doing exactly what they're doing now, destroying the strongest economies in the world in order to force people to accept world government. And that's what this is all about.
Yeah.
And it's to use logic and say, well, the Fed made a mistake. They don't make mistakes in that. They know exactly what they're doing. It's their premier force for control of all the people within any area.
Yep, I absolutely concur. When we see 43 million Americans on food stamps, it really begs the question, who do these people ultimately serve? Because, I don't want to necessarily lead you down the path of having to tell me all about, their Luciferian belief system, but at the end of the day, when you really study the system, it really is what you end up concluding, because there is no other explanation for hating.
So he's
humanity
basically
as much
saying
as
you
these
do the
people must hate
research and you come to the
humanity,
conclusion
allow
and try and be
children to go
fair
hungry
about it.
and to
If
allow
you're going to come in with a
fathers to go
biased
hungry,
opinion, then
to
obviously
allow
you're going to
entire
walk out
families.
with one too.
And
And
not
if
even
it's all
speak
about
what
money
they've
for
done to
you
third
and what
world
you can
nations
accumulate
and
for
enslaved
yourself,
third world
then
nations where people
you're never
live
going to
on
hear the other
$2
side of the
a day.
story
It's
because
just a
your
beastly
mind is,
system.
stuck in
And
the
plan
poverty
and
of the mind that I was
execute
talking
wars
about
to
in
kill
BC
hundreds
Parliament
of
House
millions of
13.
people.
Just because you
I
got
mean,
billions of dollars, it doesn't mean that
being
your
a
mind isn't
sociopath
in
is one
poverty.
thing. These people are
And that's the truth.
certifiably insane. They're psychopaths.
We need to
They
talk.
don't wear it
These
on
people
their
that
sleeve like
that
a-
do these
a
commentaries,
Hakenkreuz,
they need
which
to
is
bring up
the
the issue
Nazi
of poverty of the mind
cross.
and really
But it's
expand
there.
on that,
I mean,
and
it's in their mind.
maybe explain it better than I could.
And that's what they're headed
you know.
for here. They have to
my
have
mind
another
is
war to get
always
themselves
stretched to the max with stress
off
in
the
my
hook
own
in the
life
sense that
sometimes, you
if
know, the
everybody
story
says,
doesn't
well,
come out
gee,
very
let's
good, right?
start it all this
And there's people out there that
destroy the
have more
economy,
time
and they say,
to
no,
put things together
we
in a
didn't do
better
that,
way,
the war
right?
did it.
But poverty is poverty of the
When they
mind and the
bailed out every time
entitlement
doing that,
mentality.
we
These are things that we need to
preempted
bring
that
to the table
on this
and
program
you know
and hundreds and thousands of
spread
others
it out
by
evenly
telling
and
the public
fairly
that's what
among the
they're gonna do.
masses,
Because
from
that's
poor
what
to
they did
rich,
before.
because everybody
And this is
suffers
what
from it.
Analysts, economists, and newsletter writers, they don't get it.
So this guy
They
is
don't
pretty dedicated with his
understand
channel.
what we're talking about
You know,
right
there's
now.
lots of things
They
here.
don't
What's
want
this
to believe
one?
it.
I want the world to know you won't beat us.
I don't have to tell you things are bad. Everybody knows things are bad. It's a depression.
This is a fraudulent offshore crime syndicate that is engaged in a hijacking of corporate.
Oh, we know that voice.
The U.S. monetary policy has passed the point of no return.
I'm telling you, you want bondage, you're going to get it.
You're going to see inflation, you're going to see a decline in U.S. dollar.
Just remember, YouTube, you come along, you start tagging my videos, I'm tagging you right back. I'm posting that you tag me.
The CIA have done this to hundreds
Right?
of third world countries, some
You
countries
know,
over and over again.
right?
This is their MO. This is what they do.
I don't think Alex Jones is going to be too upset because I sat there and videotaped this video just to show that the channel in general is a nice channel, you know, and the information is flowing quite freely. You know, obviously it's not targeted towards young children, you know, but, you know, the 20-year-old group, the young men that are going off to war and losing their lives and their friends, I mean, obviously, they have a right to access this channel and formulate their own opinions, especially if they're in Afghanistan or wherever fighting, you know, the upper crust war that is, you know, taking their lives. So shutting down this channel is going to make it harder for these young people to be able to get that information. And, you know, that goes back to social engineering.
Bad dream or a nightmare? Is it my imagination, or have we lost our minds?
The public is on Prozac and on Ritalin and on fluoride.
And OxyContins.
They want more raping, they're going to get it.
And this is where we need to get off that entitlement mentality or poverty of the mind. So these commentaries and these activists, they need to, you know, they need to start addressing that, right? And again, spread it on the table more evenly, right? Where everybody takes responsibility, not just a few, right? You know, whether it's the poor group or, you know, the elite, right? I tend to be, you know, I try to be on both sides of the fence and be fair about it. So, you know, can't always do that though, right?
At that point, paper currency had lost so much value that people were literally burning it in furnaces to stay warm.
Are you starting to figure this out? So they got that unlimited power to rape, rob, and steal. No oversight, no government agency. No one can look into them. Congress passed a law saying that.
The problem and severity of this situation cannot be underestimated.
The Pentagon, the military, the Marine Corps. It isn't our military. It isn't our government. It works for the Bank of England, the owner of the Federal Reserve, on record. So the globalists can carry out their looting.
If printing money worked, then Zimbabwe would not be in the mess that it's in.
Well, it's not going to be a happy time, that's for sure.
I like this playlist.
So to invest with long-term holding physical gold and silver.
And it's not online gambling.
It is an illegitimate, hijacked, criminal government, period.
You are a traitor to this nation!
They're only scared. As they do this, you'll start fighting back. And we will fight back and we will beat you.
Dollar doomed. We're almost done here.
Ladies and gentlemen, I could not be more pleased to have back on the line the one and only Bob Chapman. Welcome back, Bob.
Thank you, and it's very nice to be here.
I don't listen to every single video this person uploads. You know, once in a while I will.
Portugal default, we've got Syria, Libya, Saudi Arabia, Japan.
I can't worry too much about the price of silver or gold because I can't afford to buy it. You know,
so it appears that everything's fine.
But that's not to say that
if you really didn't
I don't appreciate their efforts, because obviously they spent countless hours doing this.
A great combination
and some of the information I come across, you know, it's food for thought for me.
Event in Japan.
You know, I mean, obviously it affects me one way or another because, you know, I watch the BC Legislative House of Assemblies. So, they might not be talking silver and gold, but they're talking, budgets and budget debates and all this other stuff that they talk about.
Is all about as well. And I think
okay, so we're going to go to another channel.
And being in the